Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to crack the YouTube success code. We're going to look at some pretty surprising science and a few incredible stories that show why chasing views, well, it might be the biggest mistake you can make. So get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about going viral. All right, let's just dive right in by taking on the one metric everybody seems to be obsessed with, the view count. Turns out it might just be the single biggest distraction on the entire platform. You know, we're always told it's all about the clicks, right? Get as many views as you can, go viral, that's the dream. But what if that's completely backward? Some really groundbreaking research suggests we've been chasing the wrong thing all along. And this chart right here, it shows you the problem perfectly. This is from a study of over 5 million videos, and it reveals this huge disconnect. The videos people click on, they often aren't the ones people actually stick around to watch. It's this gap between a click and, real commitment. Just look at these two channels from that same study. On one hand, you've got Kimi, a cooking vlogger. She gets tons of views, but people dip out after watching only about 18% of the video. Then you have Blunt Force Truth, way fewer views, but their audience is absolutely glued to the screen, watching over 80%. This proves it. A smaller, super captivated audience is so much more valuable than a huge, distracted one. So, if just getting views isn't the real goal, then what is? Well, the academics who've actually studied this have a pretty powerful answer, and honestly, it's a total game changer for how we should be thinking about what makes content good. The answer is this idea called relative engagement, and it's brilliant, really. Instead of just looking at raw watch time, it compares your video's performance against other videos of the exact same length. This means a 3-hour deep dive can finally be compared fairly to a snappy 2-minute short. It's all about context. And here's the real kicker. The researchers found that unlike the total lottery of trying to go viral, relative engagement is shockingly stable. It's a reliable, predictable signal of quality. What that means is, if you just focus on making genuinely engaging stuff, you can build a predictably loyal audience over time. No lottery ticket required. Okay, so we've established that high relative engagement is the real goal. But what makes somebody not just watch, but feel that little urge to hit the share button? Well, the answer isn't in algorithms, it's deep in the science of human emotion. So a researcher named Jonah Berger did some fascinating work on this. He found that sharing isn't just about whether an emotion is positive or negative. That's what scientists call valence. The real secret sauce is something else, arousal. Basically, how much an emotion physically fires you up. Does it get your heart pumping, or does it kind of calm you down? And it turns out content that triggers these high arousal emotions is way more likely to get shared. Think about videos that fill you with awe, like a mind-blowing nature doc, or things that make you angry or anxious, like a story about some kind of injustice. These emotions make us feel like we have to do something, and a lot of the time that something is sharing it. But on the flip side, you've got low arousal emotions. And even if they're really powerful, they're just less likely to get shared. Sadness is the perfect example. It's a deactivating emotion. It doesn't usually make us want to jump into action, so content that just makes us sad, well, it tends to stay put. Okay, so let's bring this down from the academic world and see how this all plays out in reality. How do real creators, people starting with literally nothing, use these ideas of engagement and emotion to build huge followings? Get this. This quote is about a guy named Sean Overton. He bought 320 acres of dead, barren Texas desert with this crazy idea he was going to turn it into a forest. He had zero experience in farming, zero experience in video, but that didn't matter. He just started filming. And that right there is the first big strategy, documenting these impossible-seeming projects. People are absolutely captivated watching a regular person try to do something extraordinary. That whole journey, with all the failures and the tiny wins, it creates this high arousal mix of awe and anticipation, and viewers get completely hooked. Now, check out Ian's story. This guy worked at 7-Eleven for 12 years. He posted over 1,000 videos and got basically nowhere. Then one day, he just posted this raw, totally unedited video about his dead-end job. No fancy camera, no script, just a guy being honest about his struggle. And it went massively viral. And that's strategy number 2, just embracing that authentic, raw vulnerability. Ian's story just proves that being relatable and unfiltered connects with people on a level that, polished, perfect production just never ever can. That real connection, that's a powerful form of engagement. So this number, $133,000, That's reportedly what one creator made from a single video in just 7 days. And his strategy? It was simple, but incredibly powerful. He flew to Nepal and just started documenting a revolution while it was actually happening. He gave people this raw, on-the-ground view of a super high-stakes event. So when you look at all these, you start to see the pattern, right? These winning strategies, they're not about having a big budget. They're about having big, high-arousal ideas. Documenting an impossible journey creates awe. Being radically authentic creates a deep, relatable connection. And covering a revolution, well, that triggers anxiety and a powerful curiosity. But look, none of this deep engagement, none of these high arousal emotions, none of it matters if you can't win that very first battle. You have to earn the click. And that battle is won or lost in the thumbnail. So marketing folks have analyzed tons of thumbnails, and they found something really counterintuitive. You'd think a nice, friendly smile would be the way to go, right? Well, the data shows that the expressions that are most effective at grabbing our attention are actually surprise and disgust. Why? Because these really strong emotions break the pattern in our feed, and they trigger our curiosity. We just have to stop scrolling and find out what's going on. So the key here is to use these emotional triggers strategically. You're probably not going to put a shocked face on every single video, but a well-placed expression of surprise or intrigue can make your video totally irresistible in a sea of sameness. The real lesson? You got to test and see what actually works for your audience. All right, so let's tie all of these threads together. Let's build a whole new playbook for what success on YouTube actually looks like. One based not on vanity metrics, but on the real science of human attention and emotion. Here it is. This is your new roadmap. First, stop chasing views. Aim for high relative engagement. Make that your true north. Second, build your content around those high arousal emotions like awe or anger or just intense curiosity. Third, embrace authenticity. Document your real journey. Don't wait until you're a perfect expert. And finally, win that crucial first click with a thumbnail that's emotionally smart. This is a huge shift from chasing popularity to actually earning a real connection. And in the end, maybe that's the whole secret. We should all stop asking, how can I go viral, and start asking a different question. How can I be truly, deeply engaging? Just shifting your focus from the outcome to the process, that might be the most powerful strategy of all. Because it forces you to focus on what really matters, creating value, building connection, and tapping into genuine human emotion.